I would say it's both. We both build that into the technology, but I think it's a continuous earning by the industry as well. So when we look at the financial industry today, what we see as a shift is that the payments and compliance are no longer separate. And I think this creates a big shift in the way that today a static compliance rule-based needs to evolve. And we see more and more compliance becoming as part of the transaction flow in order to establish a trust that the industry needs today with regards to the emergence of this new technology. More particularly, I think when we look at a bit the way that compliance is happening today, is that the trust is verified after the fact when the payment is done. Whereas when you are moving to the real time, there is no longer about detection, it's about really prevention. So this creates, I would say, different needs in terms of how you manage your compliance. So we see basically a move from very static or verifying or checkpoints compliance into a more decision-based, based on data, based on identity and real-time monitoring of risk that happens throughout the moment that the transaction is still happening. And this is, of course, very complex because instant payments is about, I would say, instant, right? So this intelligence needs to really be strengthened. And what we see in the, I would say, in the regulatory angle is that more and more, at least in Europe and other places, we see that the regulators are pushing to that. So there are solutions like verification of the payee, confirmation of the payee. These are behaviors that shows that we are not looking at a static rule-based. The decision about a fraudulent transaction or identity is already integrated at the early stage of the transaction. So the transaction would not go to the execution unless the identities and compliance information are verified. So I think that's a big shift that we see. And as I would say, as a provider of the compliance to multiple networks that are emerging, we are trying to make sure that as this new real-time, I would say, infrastructures are becoming more and more prevalent, we are just making sure that our participants and our banks are managing the cross-border, the domestic, I would say, complexity by bringing the compliance in a real time throughout the whole transaction lifecycle.
I think on the market, right, as we move from the traditional lower volume of payments to high velocity, huge volume of digital payments supported by the new age of technologies, I think a natural concern will be, if anything goes wrong, will the sort of a damage also be amplified, which lead to the natural question of, can we still trust the system, trust the bank, right? In my view, the digital trust probably covers both aspects of your question. Firstly, from a development and design point of view, the technologies we're going to adopt should also essentially accommodate the increasing demand of supporting digital volume, high velocity, low latency, high capacity payments. So essentially, it's part of the design principles we need to adopt. We need to adopt new age control measures to ensure the system by design, by development can support higher level of trust from the users. Another part essentially is really the way we manage the whole process, engaging with clients. The principles we set up in our product design, development, and long-term maintenance needs to give the comfort to the end users, our clients, the confidence that they can use the products in a very safe, secure, and sustainable manner. So it's both by design with a better technologies, better controls, and also we need to earn the trust by demonstrating we can truly drive toward that direction to give the confidence and trust to our clients.
Well, I strongly believe that trust has to be earned. And that's really important in the context of payments. At Swift, we've been earning the trust of our customers for over 50 years, and we're continually investing in operational excellence to upgrade our capabilities so that the payment experience is always secure, is always resilient. Today, we operate at what we call 4 nines of availability, so 99.99% available. And we're continuously conducting exercises like business continuity exercises to ensure that that availability is maintained now and into the future. Our network today sees something like the world's GDP equivalent over it every 2 to 3 days. So we're really operating at a very large scale here and really helping power the financial ecosystem. Alongside that, it's a network that operates at speed as well. So today, 75% of the payments that we see over the SWIFT network arrive at the end beneficiary bank within 10 minutes, often within seconds. And so we're combining the speed, the scale, and the availability to ensure that we do fulfill the trust expectations that our clients have and their clients also expect. Now, you mentioned the ISO 20022 payment standard. That is very important. We completed the migration to that in cross-border payments last year, and we're continuing to make full use of the capabilities of ISO 20022. And today we see about 97% of payment instructions on the SWIFT network made in that format. And we firmly believe that that can be the common language for payments going forward. So yes, there is trust based in the standard, but trust is also earned through the trust placed in institutions. And maybe one last point on this trust angle. As we go forward, we see different and new capabilities from new technologies emerging. So maybe in the future, trust can be also verifiable using the technology as well as being placed in the institutions that operate that technology.